วัสดีปีใหม่ 2568 ค่ะหากปีที่ผ่านมาของคุณเป็นปีที่ยากลำบากแล้วขอให้ปีใหม่นี้เป็นปีที่เราเติบโตและสดใสกว่าเดิมค่ะละทิ้งความสัมพันธ์ที่ท็อกซิกหรืออะไรก็ตามที่ฉุดรั้งความสุขและความก้าวหน้าของเราขอให้ปีใหม่เป็นปีที่ดีสำหรับทุกคนค่ะและอย่าลืมติดตามข่าวภาคภาษาอังกฤษกับ This Week with Thai PBS World ทุกวันศุกร์ 4 ทุ่มครึ่งทางไทย PBS ช่องหมายเลข 3 ค่ะ Happy New Year everyoneสวัสดีค่ะ I'm Nad Bunag and welcome to This Week with Thai PBS World. As 2024 comes to an end, we take a look back at the biggest stories that hit the headlines throughout the year. 2024 also marks another turbulent year in Thai politics, from the dissolution of the Progressive Move Forward Party and the ouster of Sethha Thavisin, which led to the premiership of Pathongthan Shinawatra, to more internal conflicts within the coalition. Here's a summary of what happened in Thai politics in 2024.
2024 has been a year full of turbulence and upheavals in Thai politics, from party dissolutions, sudden changes in the country's leadership, and political falling outs. 2024 was disappointing for the Progressive Move Forward Party. Many predicted its downfall when the Constitutional Court ruled in January that it had attempted to overthrow the constitutional monarchy through its election promise to amend the country's lèse-majesté law. This meant the main opposition party was at risk of dissolution following its predecessor, the Future Forward Party. The party, led by its chief advisor, Pitha Limjaroenrat, launched a 9-point defense challenging the court's authority to dissolve a political party and questioning the legitimacy of the Election Commission's petition to disband them. Their attempts to save the party were, however, unsuccessful. August 7th was doomsday for the Move Forward Party. The court's verdict was seen as a major blow to the political party, which had won the most parliamentary seats in the 2023 general election. Without losing hope, it was eventually reincarnated as the People's Party, with Nattapong Ruengpanyawut becoming its leader. A week later, Thailand saw another major political event. No one ever thought that Sethha Thavisin would be removed as prime minister after only a year in office. Sethha was ousted again by the Constitutional Court after he was found guilty of appointing Pichit Chunban, who was convicted of corruption charges in 2008 as the minister of the prime minister's office. This paved the way for Pathongthan Shinawatra to become prime minister, the third Shinawatra family member to lead the country. Pathongthan's performance has, however, been widely criticized. Many of the critics believe that her father, former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, who now holds no official or elected position, is dominating the Pheu Thai-led government. Since his release on parole in February, Thaksin has made many speeches sharing his vision for Thailand. He spoke at rallies during local election campaigns in Udon Thani in an attempt to regain the Pheu Thai party's stronghold in the northeastern region. Meanwhile, the Patongtan government achieved some of its goals and election pledges, namely the 10,000 baht cash payout under the digital wallet scheme, pre-travel visa-free entry for tourists from 93 countries, and the promotion of Thailand's so-called soft power. 2024 was also a year of internal conflicts and falling outs. The Palang Pracharat Party saw a major falling out after former Deputy Agricultural Minister Thamarat Phrompao called it quits when he discovered that he was not included in the Patongtan cabinet. Its leader, General Prawit Wongsuwan, was also in hot water for not attending the House meeting to vote for Patongtan as the new Prime Minister and for this incident.
ดูการเลือกโหวตนายกวันนี้เป็นไงบ้างคะบรรยากาศค่ะบรรยากาศตั้งแต่ภาพ
The Palang Pracharat Party was ultimately excluded from the coalition administration. The Pheu Thai-led government later made a surprise move of inviting its long-standing rivals, the Democrat Party, to join the coalition instead. Yet another falling out was noticeable between coalition partners after the lower house overwhelmingly voted in favor of a one-tier referendum to amend the constitution. MPs who voted against came from the Phumjai Thai Party. Despite criticism, skepticism, and uncertainties, Prime Minister Patongtan promised during her televised address that 2025 will be a year of tangible, practicable possibilities and hope for the Thai people.
From political stories of the year, now let's turn to the biggest scandals of 2024. Two major legal cases made headlines in Thailand this year. One is a massive fraud scandal, and the other a decades-old tragedy with no justice.
This year, two major legal cases rocked Thailand, drawing national and international attention and raising questions about justice, accountability, and consumer protection. The Icon Group scandal and the conclusion of the Tak Bai massacre case. The Icon Group scandal erupted in October, unraveling as Thailand's largest ever pyramid scheme, or, as some argue, a wildly successful e-commerce company gone rogue. Over 5,000 complaints were filed, with victims claiming losses exceeding a combined 1.6 billion baht, though investigators estimate the damages may go well beyond 10 billion. At the center of it all is Waratphol Waratwarakul, also known as Boss Paul, the founder and CEO, and 17 other executives, including 3 well-known Thai celebrities. They promised passive incomes and luxurious rewards to investors who paid amounts ranging from 2,500 to 250,000 baht, ostensibly to sell the company's products. What sounded like an opportunity to get rich turned into a nightmare for many as the scheme collapsed under allegations of fraud, bribery, and money laundering. Authorities moved swiftly, issuing arrest warrants, freezing assets worth over 1 billion baht, and classifying the operation as an illegal pyramid scheme. The Department of Special Investigation has filed charges, and trials are expected to begin in 2025. For the victims, there is, however, some hope for compensation as investigations continue. October also marked a somber anniversary, 20 years since the Tak Bai massacre, in which 85 protesters lost their lives in a crackdown in Narathiwat province. The tragedy included 78 deaths from suffocation, as detainees were stacked on top of each other in army trucks for a 5-hour journey. This year, justice was dealt a severe blow. The statute of limitations expired, forcing the dropping of charges against 14 state officials accused of murder and unlawful detention. Despite international and domestic pressure, including calls from the UN and civil society groups, the suspects evaded accountability, with some reportedly fleeing abroad.
ในวันนี้เนี่ยก็รู้สึก เสียใจกับเหตุการณ์ที่เกิดขึ้นนะคะเป็นอย่าง
Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra apologized to the victims' families but stopped short of extending the statute of limitations, citing constitutional constraints. For many, this incident remains a stark reminder of the impunity of the rich and powerful that has long plagued Thailand's deep south. From a high-profile fraud case exposing weaknesses in consumer protection to a tragic failure of justice following a decades-old massacre, these two cases starkly represent the ongoing challenges for Thailand. While the Icon Group scandal signals some progress in tackling financial crime, the Tak Bai case underscores the need for systemic reforms to prevent history from repeating itself. Gitipat Chun Sukjit, reporting for Thai PBS World.
From the biggest legal cases of the year, now we will revisit the tragedies of the year. Numerous lives were lost, not only humans, but also animals. By highlighting these events, more awareness about saving lives was raised. This is a recap of what we've been through this year.
The most heartbreaking news of the year involves teachers and students from Uthai Thani's Wat Khao Phraya Sangkharam School, who were on a field trip when their bus caught fire while traveling to another stop in Nonthaburi before finishing the trip and returning to their province. The inferno resulted in the death of 20 primary and middle school students and 3 teachers. Several others suffered burns, with some requiring ventilators. Among them was a 7-year-old girl who was reported by doctors to be at risk of losing her eyesight. Meanwhile, the burned-out bus was found to have first been registered in 1970. It was rebuilt on a new chassis and fitted with elephant fuel canisters, while only 6 are normally allowed, leading to the bus owner facing unauthorized modification charges. The tragic incident, which cost the lives of many loved ones, has led many to call for more action to prevent such tragedies in the future. Not only have netizens been debating the safety standards of buses, but families of the victims have also voiced their concerns to the media about the safety of CNG and NGV vehicles, as well as other safety measures for public transportation and student field trips. Following the incident, the Director General of the Department of Land Transport ordered the suspension of the license of the coach service operator and initiated a bus fleet inspection. There are, though, still more than 10,000 buses to be processed. 2024 also saw shocking crime involving foreigners. 6 Vietnamese nationals, including some who had dual American citizenship, were found dead in a luxury hotel in Bangkok's Ratchaprasong shopping district in July. The 6 bodies were found with no signs of struggle. Only tea and coffee cups appeared to have been used. Tests on the cups showed the victims were poisoned using cyanide, which matched the cyanide evidence found during the autopsies and in the hotel room. With this case, cyanide poisoning was hitting the headlines again, following the notorious case of M cyanide, which shook the country in 2023. M cyanide, who allegedly killed more than 14 people, was named the worst serial killer that year. She was sentenced to death in November for poisoning a 32-year-old friend. These crimes highlighted the ease with which dangerous chemicals can be purchased, leading to repeated incidents seen in Thailand and other countries. 2024 also recorded the highest number of dugong deaths in the Andaman Sea. This year alone, A total of 41 have been recorded. The number of deaths in the past 2 years has reached 80 due to conditions exacerbated by climate change. เกาะลิบง in Trang province is known as the home to the dugong, a mammalian species already vulnerable to extinction. An expert has stated that there are now fewer than 10 of them left in the area. Most of the mammals are reported to have died due to emaciation brought on by a lack of nutrients. Seagrass, a major source of nutrition for dugong and an indicator of the health of the ecosystem, is continuously reducing as a consequence of annual increase in sea temperatures. More importantly, apart from natural threats, human actions are also likely to be involved in the dugong deaths this year. The government has begun to address the dugong deaths by managing food sources and promoting seagrass planting. They still need to monitor and enforce laws against harmful human activities, though, including the online and black market trades. Sarinya Lim, reporting for Thai PBS World.
And we can say that these were the biggest tragedies of 2024. We'll take a short break from the year-end wrap-up, and now let's have a look at what's happening in Thailand throughout the week in our weekly roundup.
The cabinet approved new daily minimum wages, which will become effective on January 1st. Only workers in Phuket, Cha Cheong Sao, Chonburi, and Got Samui of Surat Thani will receive the maximum rate of 400 baht. The rates in Mueang district of Chiang Mai and Hat Yai district of Songkhla will be increased to 380 baht, while the rates in Bangkok and its 6 surrounding provinces will be raised to 372 baht. The cabinet has also approved the second phase of the digital wallet scheme, under which Thais who are 60 and older will receive 10,000 baht financial support to be payable before Chinese New Year or January 29th. The first phase of the scheme was launched in late September. 14.5 million people with disabilities and state welfare card holders were each paid a 10,000 baht state benefit wired to their bank accounts. Police and national park officials raided an animal farm in Nakhon Pathom allegedly linked to the smuggling of a baby gorilla from Nigeria to Thailand, which was intercepted at Turkey's Istanbul airport. The Director General of the National Parks Department believes that the smuggling of the baby gorilla was carried out by an international wildlife trafficking gang, and Thailand may be just a transit point for the endangered ape before being smuggled to another country. A new speed limit of 50 kilometers per hour has come into force on 10 roads close to the Grand Palace, while a 60 kilometer per hour speed limit is now in force on most other roads. The Metropolitan Police explained that the new traffic regulation is necessary to reduce road accidents in densely populated areas and areas around government offices. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Transport has ordered the suspension of all road construction work throughout the country from December 26th to January 2nd to facilitate traffic flow during the New Year peak travel period. Thailand, among many other countries, held vigils to remember the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami and earthquake. Thailand was one of the countries affected by the tsunami, which damaged and destroyed 6 provinces in southern Thailand. More than 400 villages were affected, including world-renowned tourist resorts like Khao Lak. A total of 5,396 people, including tourists, were killed in Thailand.
And 2024 has been marked by economic turbulence. While the government aims to revitalize the economy through short-term incentives, Thailand's economic performance trails behind that of other ASEAN nations. The independence of the central bank and the increase in the daily minimum wage have also sparked concerns over economic instability. Frank Han-shi has more details.
The Thai government has vowed to catalyze the economy by implementing short-term incentives, but Thailand's economic performance still lags behind neighboring countries. Where Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra expressed confidence that the cash handout of 10,000 baht to 45 million Thai nationals could trigger an economic whirlwind, economists emphasized the need for long-term strategies. According to World Bank's latest report, Thailand's GDP growth is projected to remain under 3% in 2024. Other markets are, however, expecting higher growth, as the Philippines and Vietnam are forecast to grow more than 6%, whereas Indonesia's GDP is expected to increase by 5% this year. Despite a positive figure of 3% growth in the third quarter, economists suggest that the Thai government should focus on boosting agricultural productivity and transitioning manufacturing industry towards innovation and sustainability. To elevate Thailand's competitiveness, lifting restrictions and improving the pool of high-skilled labor are essential steps to attract more foreign direct investment. In addition to external competition, conflicts between the central bank and the government have raised concerns over economic stability, as the Bank of Thailand, or BOT, has faced pressure since the previous Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin's tenure to cut the policy rate. Many economists and former BOT governors warn such government pressure could harm the central bank's independence. On the other hand, some criticized the BOT policy of maintaining the policy rate at 2.5%, arguing that it has increased the burden on borrowers. Despite a cut of 0.25 of a percentage point in October, the government expected further restriction to stimulate more cash flow in the market. The monetary policy of the central bank, however, declined to make a cut, maintaining the same rate in mid-December. Another contentious battle between the two sides is the delayed appointment of a new BOT chairman, where the academic community supports the idea that the chairman should be apolitical. An independent selection committee eventually appointed Gidirat Naranon, who was previously a former deputy premier and finance minister in a per-Thai government. Gidirat has, however, been disqualified by the Council of State due to his position as a former advisor to Srettha, but political analysts say that this appointment reflects that the current government intend to install a chairman who will only listen to the government's requirements, which could jeopardize the BOT's independence. Another policy causing the private sector's concern is an increase in the minimum daily wage to 400 baht. While this might be positive for workers in Thailand, businesses are worried about higher production costs, which could erode Thai products' competitiveness in the global market. The cabinet has approved the plan to raise the wage with varying rates based on each province, effective from the first day of next year. Chambers of Commerce warn that the farming and service sectors will bear with the greatest impact. Despite this policy benefiting more than 3 million workers, Sanan Angupongwon, chairman of the Thai Chamber of Commerce, noted that the government should prioritize the addressing of high household debt and enhancing the competitiveness of small and medium enterprises. In a televised speech, Prime Minister Paetongtarn vowed to spur the economy by transforming the country to an AI hub and continuing the second phase of the cash handout scheme. But a TDRI economists say that Thailand will face higher inflation due to the tariff war between two superpowers and geopolitical issues in the Middle East, adding that the government needs to prepare for economic uncertainties next year. Frank Kanshi reporting for Thai PBS World.
This year-end also saw some of the heaviest flooding in Thailand, spanning from the northern to the southern region. 16 provinces have already been affected by this disaster, causing billions of baht in damage. See more of what happened with Warisara Sahan.
Mud, houses in ruins, and much more damage. This is the aftermath of flooding in the second half of this year, from the northern to the deep southern provinces of Thailand. From August to October of 2024, northern provinces such as Chiang Rai, Chiang Mai, Phayao, Phrae, and Nan faced the heaviest flooding, reportedly the heaviest in the past 40 years.
คือน้ำมันมาเร็วแบบกระทันหันแบบไม่ได้ตั้งตัวคือเรามารู้อีกทีคือตอนที่น้ำมันเริ่มขึ้นแล้วเพราะตอนนั้นเรายังไม่คิดว่ามันจะเยอะขนาดนี้เพราะมันไม่เคยมีไง
According to the National Hydroinformatics Data Center, the aftermath of Super Typhoon Yagi from the north of Myanmar was one of the factors that triggered heavy rains in those northern provinces. There was constant rainfall almost every day from August to September, with the most precipitation being 235.8 millimeters per day. With this, the soil on mountains could no longer absorb the water. Flash floods affected the commercial districts, Chiang Rai Airport, and even suburban villages of Chiang Rai. Over 56,000 households were swamped. Bridges and roads were cut off. People were displaced, especially residents of Karieng Ruamit village, where 50 houses out of 300 totally collapsed. Chiang Rai was the most damaged province in the north region, the cost of which reached 6.4 billion baht, according to the University of the Thai Chamber of Commerce. Chiang Mai's famous tourist attraction like the Elephant Sanctuary were also affected by the flooding. 2 elephants drowned and thousands of animals had to be evacuated. According to the Chiang Mai Chamber of Commerce, the damage from heavy flooding in the business area where hotels, restaurants, and shops are located were estimated to cost at least 2 billion baht. A few months later, the southern provinces of Thailand were facing the same conditions. Constant heavy rain and high sea levels from November 22nd to December 15th triggered flash floods and mudslides in 11 provinces, including Chumphon, Ranong, Surat Thani, Nakhonศรีธรรมราช Pathalung, Trang, Satun, Songkha, Pattani, Yala, and Narathiwat. Many areas were about 1 to 2 meters deep in flood water.
พี่ก็อยู่ตรงนี้มา10 กว่าปีอ่ะก็ไม่เคยเจอนี่ก็ขนได้แค่บางส่วน
Yala, one of Thailand's deep southern provinces, experienced the heaviest floods in 36 years. Trains to Yala had to be cancelled as the water inundated its train station and business area. Water, food, and survival bags were needed. Over 30,000 meal boxes were produced per day. Additionally, there were landslides in some areas of Beitung district. The Joint Standing Committee on Commerce, Industry and Banking reported that the costs of the damage in the southern region from November to December was 5 to 10 billion baht. Many authorities and government agencies gave full support to handle the situations in both the north and south, along with the recovery subsidy from the government.
ปกติจะมีเกณฑ์ 5,000 7,000 9,000 แต่จากการสำรวจทั้งหมดแล้วเราเห็นได้เลยว่าความเสียหายเนี่ยนะครับมันเกิน 9,000 บาททุกรายจ่าย 9,000 บาทก็ยังไม่คุ้มค่ากับความเสียหายที่พี่น้องประชาชนได้รับ นะครับท่านนายกรัฐมนตรีจึงได้กำหนดให้ตัดสินใจให้ทำการเยียวยาช่วยเหลือพี่น้องประชาชนทั่วประเทศเลยเนี่ยที่ประสบอุทกภัยในห่วงครึ่งปีหลังที่ผ่านมาจนถึงปัจจุบันเนี่ยนะครับ
In fact, flooding is nothing new in Thailand. It is still an issue that every sector tries their best to tackle, but it still seems to get worse each time.
น้ำท่วมสูงขนาด
Warisala Sehan reporting for Thai PBS World.
And that wraps up tonight's edition of This Week with Thai PBS World. Join us every Friday at 10:30 p.m. only on Thai PBS. And don't forget to follow us on social media and our website, thaipbsworld.com, for all the latest updates about Thailand as well as analyses. Thanks for watching, and we wish you a happy new year. สวัสดีปีใหม่ค่ะ
ฟื้นคืนชีวิตมหา